This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Well, let's get back to it.
I usually play Let's Get Back to It at the end, so I was thinking, what could I play at the end? And then I got stuck, and so you get nothing. You get nothing. Britain faces a weekend washout with a chance of thunderstorms. Summer is a while away. Meteorologists forecast large parts of the country are going to have a miserable couple of days as the recent warm spell that saw the mercury hit 21 degrees centigrade is replaced by cold weather from the north with lows of 8 centigrade. Blimey. Flood warnings and alerts have been issued by the Environment Agency in some places amid concerns that rain and gusts will come in from the North Sea.
Warning, warning.
What's the difference between a warning and an alert, by the way? Nobody knows. We're going to get a warning on tomorrow. No, wait, Sunday at 3 o'clock. Did you see Smug go just droning on about, oh, well, of course, I won't have it on my phone. Anyway, the temperature will plummet in northern parts of England and Scotland to near 0 next week. This could be followed by some late April snow. Snow?
Oh, no.
A lot of rain hit England and Wales with thunder, lightning. Very, very frightening today.
Rock and roll!
Southern England and Wales hit lows of 8 degrees centigrade. It was blooming freezing outside. And Northern Ireland and Northern Scotland had highs of 19.
What?
Wait. Southern England had hit 8 degrees and Northern Scotland had 19. That can't be right. We're checking while you wait. One moment, please. Aha. Well, it's not raining at this minute in Glasgow, but it will be raining tomorrow and raining on Sunday and raining on Monday and, what? Sunny on Tuesday. Pfft, rubbish. And then raining on Wednesday and raining on Thursday and raining on Friday and then raining next Saturday and then raining on Sunday and raining on Monday and raining on Tuesday and raining on Wednesday and raining on Thursday every day for the rest of your lives. Oh well, never mind. It's just weather. There's always inside. So rain is going to dominate in northern England, Scotland and Northern Ireland. Har, har, har. That's on Saturday. Heavy rain driving into the southwest of England in the evening and the Midlands overnight. Basically, everybody gets wet. Sunday, heavy rain over eastern England and Wales. Snow and hail in Scotland, particularly in the evening. God, we've had a lot of it, haven't we? I think this is the world making up for the fact that we had pretty much none at all for about 6 weeks at the beginning of this year. Do you remember that? It just didn't rain at all in January, like not a drop. I don't know whether that is accurate, but if you say things that aren't true over and over again, then they become true. Isn't that right, fishy? Rain dominating in northern England, and here, there and everywhere, baby. Sunday, heavy rain over England and Wales. Snow and hail in Scotland. Monday, temperatures could reach as low as 2. In Manchester, 1 centigrade in Edinburgh. Blimey. And any shower could fall as snow, even in the southern part of the country next week. That's not good. Would you like to hear the long-range forecast for the next 4 weeks?
No.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm on a lot of medication, and some of it is backing up on me. I apologise.
Disgusting.
I've been wandering around the house today going, I noticed that was the noise that I was making everywhere I was going. It was just an involuntary explanation of noise. I don't know what's going on. What on earth is going on? I want answers, damn it. I had a cold that seemed to last about 3 weeks. And then it morphed into a totally different cold, which was worse than... So I've got 2 going on at the same time. Is that medically possible? I feel absolutely dreadful. But you know me, I never complain.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
So, the long-range forecast for the next 4 weeks. Last week of April, first week of May, the next couple of weeks. Blimey, it's almost May already. I hallucinating or is time speeding up? So, last week in April, first week in May. Rather cloudy at the start, outbreaks of rain and drizzle. The best of any clear or sunny spells, most likely to be in the northeast. Then, first week of May, rain. Then more settled weather developing, light winds, dry conditions, a gradual upward trend in temperatures, but colder than average. Right. So this is the middle 2 weeks of May now. Fingers crossed, everybody. Could go either way. By the second week of May, rain. Ugh. Then it could go one way or the other. They just don't know. They said, not a clue. It could be fine or it could be unsettled. But temperatures are more likely to be above average. Temperatures are more likely to be above average? We'll take it. So, Ahmed emails, is the bar set too low for bullying? I think the bar is almost touching the floor when it comes to standards needed to become an MP. There are standards that you need to pass to become an MP. I didn't know that. I find that curious. What are those standards exactly? The ability to speak and walk at the same time? Adrian emails, that protester at the snooker on Monday, I don't think a snooker table has seen that much powder since Jimmy White stopped playing. Wow, that really did take a long time to come up with that joke, didn't it, Adrian? Good grief, that's embarrassing. What do you have to think about that for a week? Terrible. And Ray says, back in 1981, the lunatics have taken over the asylum by Funboy 3. May have been very fitting for your type of show. What do you think, Nick? Back in 1981, the lunatics have taken over the asylum by Funboy 3. May be very fitting for your type of show. What do you think, Nick? That as a sentence, it doesn't really make much sense. And half of it is in capital letters, like he's shouting at me. And it's just not a music show. I mean, every now and again, I'll play some music if you absolutely insist on it. But other than that, not. I mean, this is about as much as you'll get. That's about as much music as I'll play. Luke says, we really went from Dominic Raab as Deputy PM to Oliver Dowden as Deputy PM. What on earth have we done to deserve this? God, I've got absolutely no idea. It must have been pretty bad. Maybe I was asleep. Maybe I was passed out when I did it. But whatever it was, I probably deserve everything I'm getting. Skier Sir Keir Starmer today accused Dominic Raab of whining about the bullying probe that forced him to quit as the Deputy Prime Minister.
Stop whining.
That's totally unfair to whiners. He didn't whine, he screamed like a baby that's just had its dummy pulled out of its mouth. The Labour leader hit out after Dominic Raab, who was also Justice Secretary, if you can believe that, used his resignation letter to suggest that civil servants were not able to hack his high standards. Wow, that's the funniest thing I've heard all day. I don't know, maybe it's the combination of extra strength aspirin and caffeine and codeine and whatever the hell else it is in those pills. But that sounds pretty amusing to me. They couldn't hack his high standards. Yeah, they just weren't able to lie on a sun lounger while Afghanistan fell. They couldn't not read the Good Friday Agreement when he was Brexit Secretary, when it was his actual job to read the Good Friday Agreement because its success hinged on the thing he was responsible for, Brexit. I mean, it was only 35 pages long, for crying out loud, and he didn't read it. I mean, the cocktail list for the bar at the hotel he was staying at while Kabul fell to the Taliban was longer than that.
Booze.
He was reported to have gone paddleboarding instead. And when he was challenged on that, he actually said that he couldn't have gone paddleboarding because the sea was closed.
What?
That's right. They closed the sea. Yeah, that's believable. Those activist civil servants weren't able to keep up with him because when he went on trips, he took a private jet at our expense. You know, his luxurious travel cost us poor dopes who pay taxes £1 million in just 9 months. £1 million. 9 months. And what did we get for that, by the way? And remember, it was Dominic Raab who didn't know that COVID to Dale. Yeah, I think the rest of this show is, anything could happen in the next 5 minutes. What was in those pills, by the way? I guess I'll find out later. Wow, I'm getting like a purple haze on everything. It was Dominic Raab who didn't know that Dover to Calais, the shortest distance between us and our biggest trading partners, was so important. I mean, who doesn't know that Dover to Calais is a thing? It was Dominic Raab that said that people that used food banks were just experiencing temporary cash flow problems. He really is in touch with the people, no?
No.
No. It was Dominic Raab, or Dom, as ministers seem keen to call him, as though that makes him seem cuddly. It was him who didn't know that misogynistic murders can't be perpetrated against men. Justice Secretary. And in a terrible call of shame, the biggie was, and you may have seen this clip, it's just astonishing every time you look at it. He was sitting in a studio audience for some TV debate, and a disabled person was sitting next to him, and she suggested it might be a good idea to stop health and social care cuts, and he said to her face, that was just a childish wish list. I mean, if I had been in that audience, I would have seriously considered punching him in the face. But then I would remember that he is a black belt in, I don't know, something. He's got a black belt in his wardrobe, something like that. I don't know. I would have thought about it, but I wouldn't have actually done it because, that would have been wrong. She should have hit him with his stick. I mean, I can't believe that he got out of that studio unmolested. He actually said to her face that stopping health and social care cuts for disabled people was just a childish wish list. And that was in 2017. All of that happened before Slippery Fishy hired him to be Justice Minister.
This government will have integrity at every level.
Liar!
Yeah, sure it will. All of that happened before Slippery Fishy hired him to be Justice Minister. I mean, Justice Minister. You couldn't make it up. I mean, why didn't he go the whole hog and make him Minister for Bullying? And Fishy Sunak has now lost a third cabinet minister within his first 6 months as Prime Minister. I mean, 1 is embarrassing, 2 is unfortunate, but 3, well, see, that's a pattern, isn't it? Fishy seems to be actively seeking out the worst people to surround himself with. Maybe so he looks good by comparison. And we've been here before, haven't we, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
I mean, just when the nation thought that the Tories could not possibly find anyone worse than Priti Patel, Fishy found a way. Cruella Braverman. I mean, we have got to stop being fooled by those little puppy dog eyes and that eager demeanour and those little schoolboy suits and the perfect hair. I don't think Rishi Sunak is a very nice person. And about the hair, by the way.
You don't need to put all of that product in your hair. You just don't.
You just don't. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Thank you for holding. Your call is important to us.
Yes, your call is very important to us, Mick. You're in Leeds, but you know that.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I'd just like to say Dominic Raab is an absolute nutter. By resigning, he's accepted the findings of the report. Any employment lawyer will tell you that. He's a solicitor. He's completely incompetent. And Rishi Sunak, he should resign for not firing him and sacking him a long time ago because he knew about this behaviour and he let it go on and he let him be in charge of the Justice Department where people had complained about him. Absolute disgrace, shocker. The Tory party, this is the end. You'll see in the local elections, they'll absolutely get pulverised.
Well, quite possibly. We don't know. We'll find out when we get there. But I was looking at the results from Esher, which is about as conservative a place as you can possibly get. I mean, look up white middle-class people and it'll have a picture of Esher right there. And that's where Dominic Raab is the MP of. And in 2017, the general election, they had 23,000 majority. And in 2019, it was 2,000. Wow.
Yeah, he's on his way out, isn't he? You know, he's an absolute nutter. He needs a psychological assessment. The man is a nutter.
Right. Okay. Thanks a lot, Mick. 0345 6060 973. He needs a psychological assessment. Well, who doesn't? Let's face it. What is this? What is this?
This is relevant to a text bit later on.
I am British, I am white, I am a curious Christian. That Alex woman at Reform UK's spring rally yesterday extolling the virtue of recreating white Britain. Who's this?
Have you not seen it?
No.
You'll enjoy it.
Well, what does it say? I mean, I can't play it on the air, can I?
Yes.
Can
if
I?
you want. Yeah. It's like a parody.
Who is she?
She is a Reform Party politician, former Brexit Party MEP.
Oh, right, so this is a joke.
No, she's totally real.
Well, you said it's a parody.
It's like a parody.
Oh, so it's not a parody?
No, she's just really thick.
She says, I am British, I am white, I am a curious Christian. Now, does that mean she's curious about Christianity? Or she's a Christian and she's just curious about stuff?
She gets more confused as she goes on, actually.
Do you want me to play it all?
If you would like, I think.
Well, you're the expert.
I think people would enjoy it, yeah.
All right. So this is at Reform UK spring rally yesterday. Now, I've just seen that she follows me.
Oh, dear. I wouldn't want her following me around.
On Twitter. No, wait, that's, no, so this is LBC's page, right?
Yes.
So she follows LBC.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Right. Because whenever I see on Twitter, I mean, I've been a very bad tweeter lately. I just haven't given it the attention that it deserves because, I've been feeling quite ill.
Stop whining.
And I've been sleeping a lot. And whenever I find somebody who I disagree with in every way, shape and form, on every issue, and they are following me, I find that a bit sinister.
Do you not do that, though?
Do I not do what?
Well, try not to make it an echo chamber and follow people you disagree with.
Are you kidding? Nobody does that.
I do.
Why? For the lols, or you just like the fighting?
To understand, to defeat your enemy, you have to try and understand them, I think.
Oh, right. Very good. Yes. That was like an ancient Chinese warrior. Thanks a lot, grasshopper. I am white, I am white, I am a curious Christian. I love all these people that say that they are guided by their faith. And I'm not saying that this is the case with her, but to certain individuals that I am thinking of right now.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
And they claim to be on Jesus' side, but I think that if Jesus actually did come back, he would make a to smite list and they'd be right at the top of it. Because they use religion as a weapon. They make choices that are almost the opposite of what Jesus would have made in any given situation, and then claim that they're doing his work. What kind of a dress is that, by the way? It looks like she ripped the sail off a boat. Anyway, well, I'll think about that. Content he's delivering for me now. Beverley in East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick.
That's an odd name for a place, Beverley, isn't it? Why is it called Beverley?
There's a dispute over it, but one of the main theories is that it was Beaver Lake, because Beverley was a lake before they imported millions of tons of chalk to take it above water level.
Oh.
So that's one of the theories that's disputed. But
well, educational this show, no?
No.
Not really.
There you go.
Go ahead.
Back to Raab again here. Think back. Britannia Unchained.
Yes.
Powell, Claude Truss, whatever.
Uh-huh.
They didn't like British workers then, did they?
They said that we were the most bone idle workers in all of the world, or something like that. I can't remember the exact phrase, but they hate us.
Yeah, well, nothing's changed, has it? Because he doesn't like civil servants of British workers.
No.
He doesn't seem to like them much now. Neither did Patel, funnily enough. So if she had got bullying them, and Johnson said, "Pull square around the Pritzker and nothing to say there," and on we go. And then Truss and Quotang were saying that British workers were the problem with British economics. Well, I think they sort of blew that last October, didn't they, when they decided to go on their weird sort of economic policy. And they're all blaming British workers.
The problem with I tell you what, those pills that I've taken have sort of scrambled my mind. I'm not really thinking very straight. Anything could happen in the next 2.5 hours. But the problem with, what's the word, where you produce productivity. We have very, very low productivity in this country, and that was an issue that they were ignorantly trying to address. Now, I would guess that they actually know what the problem is, but they want to blame the poor worker while the wealth that they create is being siphoned off by the top 1%. The problem that we have in this country with productivity levels, which is very low compared to all our major competitors, is that the people who run companies don't invest in those companies. They just take whatever wealth is created and shower themselves with money for excellence in showing up to work. That's the problem. It's the bosses, not the workers.
Yeah, I would quite agree with you on that. And just go back to Raab again. Remember 2007 when he was employed by David Davis MP? At the time, there was a dispute where he was accused of inappropriate behaviour. That was settled with an undisclosed fee to the person who left.
Oh, yeah.
And a non-disclosure agreement, which effectively is saying, well, we'll buy you off, but we don't want you to tell what actually happened. And that was in 2007. This is not new behaviour he's indulging in.
Well, as far as I'm aware, every single ministry that he has been a part of, there have been complaints about his behaviour, all of them, as far as I'm aware. I think every single one of them. He may have got away with one or two that he didn't, he wasn't there for very long, but this is the stench just trails behind him. And you have to wonder, why are the Conservative Party so keen on here I go again, on promoting to positions of power the worst people in the country? I mean, it's as though they've just run out of people that are decent, legal, honest and true, and are just giving us the worst people they can possibly find. Now, it's either one of two things. Either they're deliberately giving us the worst people they can find as some sort of in-joke. Let's prod the public and see what they will put up with. Or they've scraped the barrel so much that they've literally got nobody else. I mean, no one thought that they would be able to find somebody worse than Priti Patel, but they managed to find a way.
Oh, yeah, they did. And talking about other members as well, I mean, look at Raab and look at Braverman. They are effectively both failed lawyers who seem very bitter and twisted because those were the careers they set off in and presumably intended to excel in. And when that didn't happen, because they weren't employed by any of the top firms, they then seemed to go in the opposite direction. And I'll ask Quickie as well with this. He's arguing now only 2 of the 28 complaints were found to be, in fact, correct. Yeah. Well, this is about the argument. You can't be 25% pregnant. And bullying is the same. It doesn't matter. You can't be 25% bullied or 75% bullied. You're either bullied or you're not bullied. So if he's found to have effectively been a nasty piece of work, even on 2 out of 28 occasions, then he is in that category.
And you would have to assume that if it's 28, then I'll go with that number. If 28 people had complained about his behaviour, then should we say 128 didn't bother to complain because, their careers were dependent on him. He was their boss. It takes a certain type of courage to complain about their boss while he remains your boss.
Yeah, I quite agree. I've been in this industry myself, and I've found people bullied who, and it was amazingly at one company, this was single parent females. And they were sort of bullied, and they said, "Don't do anything about it. No, we're not going to report it. We daren't because if we lose our job, it's serious." And my attitude to that was, "Stuff it. I'm going to go ahead because this is not. No, I didn't use their names and I didn't involve them.
Yeah.
But the principle was completely wrong. That they were getting picked on because they daren't protest."
Right.
And that was quite deliberate.
Well, it takes a great amount of courage to complain, like I said, about your boss while he remains your boss. So if there are 28 cases that were investigated and it took 5 months, why the hell did it take 5 months to come up with the conclusion of this? I mean, for God's sake, how much did that cost? You couldn't have done it over a weekend? 5 months. But anyway, let's assume that he was, perfectly correct in doing that in every way, shape and form. The lawyer who looked into it, if so many had made their complaints known, then you'd have to assume that there's just oh God, this is going to be a slog tonight. I can't think of any words that I'm going for. That there's a magnitude more that is significant. That's not really the correct sentence, but you get what I mean. Please say you get what I mean. Yeah. All right.
I know exactly what
Thank you. Mike, got to go. 0345 6060 973. At least he knows what I mean. I have no idea what I mean, but he does. We'll have him on hold so he can explain this show as we go along. 0345 6060 973, just past 10:30 on LBC. The news headlines with Daryl Jackson.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
Yes, it's about a lady who is standing on the stage behind a lectern from the Reform Party, and I'm still deciding on whether to play the audio. Do you think that I should?
Yeah.
No, he's too busy. Too busy, doing his business, whatever it is he does in there. I am British, I am white, I am a curious Christian, says Alex Phillips, former MEP for the... Well, would anybody be surprised if she was a former MP for the Brexit Party?
No.
No. No surprise there at all. Any surprise, Nige?
We've got a few idiots in our party.
Well, that may be true. You might think that. I couldn't possibly comment. Alex Phillips, former MEP for the Brexit Party, head of media at UKIP. I am British, I am white. So, what's the content of this? I mean, is it as alarming as it looks?
Yes, but it's safe to play.
Is it?
She's just very confused, bless her.
All right, well, I'll come to that in a minute, maybe. Let's have the Isle of Wight. Hello, Billy.
Hey, Nick, how are you?
Yes, good, thanks.
Good, I hope you're surviving with your horrible lurgy.
It's just awful. I've never had two colds at the same time. This seems really weird. I'm aching all over, but I don't like to make a big thing about it, and and I'm not one to complain.
Well, I mean, I suppose you could if you've got double bubble. I mean, you've got a bit of an excuse, haven't you? I know the feeling. I've got a bit of a cough myself. And,
really? That's nice, Billy. But we're talking about me.
Well, moving on, I suppose. Then talking about you again. Then I'm not going to recommend honey and lemon. I was actually going to say just close the door and escape from the rest of the world, Nick.
Yes, I've got two woolen undergarments on. I was walking around with just one, and I thought I'm going to double up just for extra safety, and I'm a little bit warm now. I've got two woolen undershirts on, and a wool jumper, and a thick hoodie on over that. I'm thinking about putting a coat on.
You've not got the aircon on in there, have you?
No, it is, but you can't change it. It's fixed. I used to be able to change it. I used to have it up at a balmy 25 degrees, but you can't change it now. It only works by remote. A robot works it.
Affirmative.
Yeah.
I mean, because I seem to recall you used to be in a room with a window. Do I remember that rightly? I remember you saying something about that a long time ago.
I do have a window, but it doesn't really look out on it or anything. It's one of those light wells in a building.
Exciting.
Not really.
I mean, I suppose you get pigeons, don't you? That's all you get to see.
No, they don't fly down this far. I think it's too scary for them. It's a very, very small space. But anyway, I'm not here to admire the view.
No, I suppose not. Nick, I called in to do in relation to because I thought you were spot on at the beginning.
In relation to who?
In relation to Dominic Raab.
Oh, Dominic Raab, right. Your phone keeps cutting out. Go ahead.
I'm sorry if it keeps cutting out. Isn't cutting out. That was my voice that time.
Right.
Which was a bit
Are you
ironic.
Okay?
Yeah, I think so. I just, you know, when you like swallow something and you've got the crumbs and it's not quite gone down yet. I think I might need to have a glass of water.
Okay. At your leisure.
I think, to be honest with you, it's the fact that you make me laugh, and I end up bringing back up. The
lunchtime.
I
see. It's my fault.
It is, yeah. It's always somebody else's fault,
Yeah.
as I suppose Dominic Raab would say.
And back we are to Dominic Raab, yeah.
I suppose what it was, Nick, is I wanted to just mention the fact that his interview, read extensively the article on the BBC News website, which makes for quite an interesting read, actually. And the double standards of this man is quite incredible. The fact that he sort of accuses the civil service of being activist. Almost.
That's such a lame phrase. They're going to have to come up with a new one, because even their fans are going to get bored of hearing that. Oh, they're activists.
Well, of course. And I seem to remember, didn't Dominic Raab, or wasn't Dominic Raab, in a cabinet with Boris Johnson when he chose to unlawfully break Parliament, which was incredibly undemocratic? Also, wasn't he recently Deputy Prime Minister in a cabinet with a Prime Minister that was elected by, I think, less than 0.1% of the population?
Yeah.
So, it just feels to me...
Like we've had a coup. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just... feels that way. It feels to me as though people have just decided to speak out, like what you were saying a couple of minutes ago.
They just can't stand it anymore. No, quite right. But great praise and kudos to those people that did complain, because, as I said, if he remains their boss and they have registered a complaint about him, then they would assume, I would imagine, that their careers are going to take a nosedive.
Precisely, and when you understand his politics as well, I mean, what you mentioned in regards to what he said next to somebody who was disabled in the audience, and his comments on food banks, which quite frankly is disgusting. You start to understand just how pathetic and how, quite frankly, uncaring this man is. So I would be scared, because I'd be looking at this man thinking, concerned about your behaviour, but equally I'm also concerned about how much you care.
Well, he didn't care at all. I mean, I don't get the feeling that any of them care. They're an empathy black hole, the entire lot of them.
Completely correct, Nick. And if you listen to what's his name? Sorry, I've forgotten his name. Is that rememberable? The Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak. There we go.
Right.
I mean, he's seen like videos of him when he's listening to members of the audience. I seem to recall one.
He just glazes over. He's not hearing a word they're saying.
He just goes into nodding and smiling and teeth mode. It's
painful.
Really quite comfortable, actually. I get secondhand embarrassment watching our Prime Minister on the TV.
Yes. You should put it as your number one priority to remember his name, by the way.
Under my leadership, the government's priorities are your priorities.
So that should be your number one priority, to remember that man's name. Remember it now, because he's not going to be there forever. All right. Thanks a lot, Billy. 0345 6060 973. Texts and emails. Still thinking about whether to play this clip. It starts, I am British, I am white. So that doesn't bode well, does it? Daryl texts, ex-Justice Secretary Dominic Deckchair Raab ironically believes he is a victim of injustice. What a snowflake. He thinks he's tough, but in reality he's just a bullying coward who abused his position of power. The only thing tough about him is the soles of his feet from walking across too many hot, sandy beaches. Yeah, that's the thing with bullies. They really don't like it when somebody stands up to them. Do they? Simon says, you can tell these eco guys don't work for a living. If you want to bring London to a standstill, what's the point of doing it on a Friday and a Monday? Don't they realise that everyone works from home on these days? Says Simon. Well, I don't think the intention is to bring London to a standstill. It's to draw attention to their cause, which should be all of our cause. I mean, we've only got one planet. Wouldn't it be a good idea to take care of where we live? And Abby says, please tell Dean Dunham that he is very polite, patient, and a good man to his callers. I commend him, says Abby. I suspect that's actually Dean Dunham. I see you, Dean Dunham. Can't fool me. 0345 6060 973. Let's have a call in Jersey. Moira.
Hello.
Moira.
Oh, I was dozing off.
You what?
I said I was dozing off then.
Well, you haven't been waiting that long, dear. It's only 20 minutes.
I know. It's your lovely voice. It sends me off to wherever. No, I wanted to tell you, we can't call ourselves Conservatives anymore. I mean, there is no Conservative Party. Oh. So I put my thinking cap on and I came up with a lovely new name for the new party. The Purgatory Party. Purgatory Party.
Oh, right. I see what you did there. Very
Do you
good.
like it?
Not really.
Oh, I'm disappointed.
Well, we'll just add it to life's little disappointments, shall we? The Purgatory
we
Party.
can't stand anymore.
No, we can't stand. We've had it up to here, and we can't take it anymore.
No, we can't. No, we can't.
All
and
right.
I'm sorry you're not well.
Well,
Hey, have you thought of getting one of those strap-on hot water bottles they keep advertising?
phew. I had no idea where you were going there.
Oh, no, nothing like that. We're not transitioning. No, nothing like that.
Nothing like that.
No,
A strap-on water bottle.
Have
No.
you heard they keep advertising them on your programme?
Do they? Well, I'm sure they're excellent.
You can strap them on your front, your back
and
around your neck, especially when you're taking a dog for a walk.
Right, I ain't got no dog, but I'll think about it. I'll give it great consideration. Thanks a lot, Moira. Keep thinking. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Conversation. Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Everything is going extremely well.
Yeah. On that subject, Tom texts, good evening, glamorous assistant. This is to you.
Lovely.
He says, just get him, as in me, a taxi home and you take over. He doesn't know if he's poached or boiled. Well, if I had any idea what that meant, I think I'd be offended. Trev says, Rob has a face like... I can't read that. I can't read that.
It's fine.
It's not. It isn't. And his colleague... no, I can't read that either. Good riddance to the horrible little talent vacuum. I can read that part. Yes. He's not gone entirely, but he's gone from our lives in a small but significant way.
Bye-bye.
See you later. Bognor Regis. Hello, Ash.
Hey, Nick. Hello there.
Hello there.
Love to hear that. Nick, I don't know if you remember, but about a year, 18 months ago, I called you up about your favourite ever pizza that you'd ever had.
Yes. Well, I don't remember, but I like pizza.
I'll remind you. You had a gig in Brighton one night, a speaking gig, and then one in Southampton the next night, and you stopped halfway the next day.
No, that's not me. That's not me.
Hotham Park, Bognor Regis.
No, that's not me.
Well, you said it was
Oh, well, I had a pizza in Bognor Regis, but I didn't have a speaking gig in Brighton and Southampton. That's someone else.
Anyway, I just want two questions. Have you had a better one since? Because that was obviously a couple of years ago.
It was. Can't recall, but it was worth going to Bognor Regis just to have the pizza in that place. It was superb. It's a nice park as well.
Yeah, great. It's lovely. Second question. It's hard to say. You cheer us up Friday and Saturday nights.
Thanks.
Yeah, you really do. Honestly, it's a hard time going at the moment in this country. What's going on with the prices and inflation and everything else.
All that.
It's just great to listen to you on a Friday, Saturday night, mate.
Well, that's very nice of you to say so, Ash. I appreciate it. So is that pizza place still there?
Yes, and once the weather gets a bit more clement, I shall be frequenting it myself.
Yes. Well, yeah. Have a one with prawns for me. All right. Thanks a lot, Ash. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, Bognor Regis. It was really very surprising because you don't think Bognor Regis and top quality cuisine, do you? Now, okay, pizza might not count in the category of top quality cuisine, but it's what I like the best. And the pizza in the sort of cafe that they got in the park there was absolutely superb. Of course, that was a while ago, so I can't attest to its quality these days. But it was worthwhile then, and maybe even now. St Ives, Jay.
Good evening.
Yes, Jay.
I just wanted to ask you, in regards to your cold, are you using Nick Ferrari's room at all?
No.
Because he's been having a cold for a long time, I think.
Yeah, it's really weird. It was the first cold that I had was the oddest one because it just lowered my voice to like Barry White, well, like as low as Nick Ferrari speaks down there. But it didn't have any other effect. I felt fine, and it just had this thing with my voice. But now I've caught another cold entirely, and both of them seem to be going at the same time. And this one is horrible. I'm aching all over and just wandering around the house going, oh.
Am I allowed to mention James O'Brien on this show at all?
Well, you just did.
Okay, sorry. He's been ill as well, so it must be going in your ventilation. It's in circulation, isn't it? So you have to open the windows.
Well, we can't do that because it's a studio. But and I'm not in the Starship Enterprise studio. I'm in a little cupboard that at the top of the building.
Well, another thing is remedy for you. You need an Albus oil. Please promise me you're gonna do it. An Albus oil.
Oh, Albus oil.
Albus oil. Have you got it?
I don't. No. What's it used for?
No. Okay, so Albus oil and go to the Turkish hammam or sauna. That will help you, honestly.
I'm definitely not going to do that.
But this is the best remedy. And second point about bullies.
Yeah.
We got worldwide bully right now. And do you know you lost something recently?
I lost something?
Yes.
What was that?
Are you aware?
I'm not aware.
Your blue tick. On your Twitter.
Did I?
You don't have that? Yes, you don't have it. So I checked it right now, and we got a bully, worldwide bully. His name is Donald. No, not Donald. What is it? Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
He's been bullying. Yes, he's bullying everybody right now with his blue ticks.
It seems a weird choice for him to make. I mean, I can understand why even the world's richest man doesn't want to lose money because Twitter is not famous for the amount of money it makes. I mean, it's a money hole. It's just a money pit, isn't it? But to take people's like their what's the word? their the blue tick, the thing that says it is actually who I am. To take that away, and so now you don't know who anybody is on there. I mean, there could be somebody now that's posting as me. So it just seems a really weird thing to do.
He's ticking people off. That's what he's doing.
A listener with material. All right, thanks a lot, Jay. Albus oil and a hammam. Let me think about that.
No.
No, it's 5 no's in a row from me. Daniel says, nothing says I'm not a bully like writing a petulant I didn't do it letter to your boss and then scrawling a 1,500-word red ink screed for the Tory Beano, blaming the sunshine, moonlight, good times and the boogie for your appalling behaviour. Sunshine! Good times. Boogie. 0345 6060 973. Let's have a call in Oldbury. Ranjit.
Hello, for taking my call.
Ranjit.
Yeah, I think what you need to drink tonight, when you go home, is some hot lemonade,
Hot lemonade?
That might
Ew.
just sweat it out.
That sounds horrible.
No, this
Do you actually mean lemonade? Like, as
lemonade,
in fizzy pop?
Fizzy pop, yeah.
And you heat it?
You heat it in the microwave and drink it, and it will make you sweat. I mean, do you participate in alcohol a little bit?
Well, not not on days I work.
No, but if you put just before you go to bed tonight,
Yeah.
hot lemonade with some brandy in there, right, and you'll sweat it out. But you're right about this cold. It does. I've had it for a few weeks as well.
Yeah, it's weird how long it's
and
lasting.
Just as you think it's gone, it comes back.
Well, I wonder if it's actually too cold, or whether it's the same one that goes through all sorts of different stages. And I'm now in the wandering around the house going, stage.
I know. Anyway, what do you think about the fake news trial in America, where Rupert Murdoch has turned around and said, "Oh, okay, I'm not even going to bother fighting the case, and I'm going to pay £800 million, right, in damages." Right?
Yes. I think it's
Donald
dollars. It's something like $250 million, something like that, which was half what the Dominion voting machine company wanted. But that's about par for the course. You settle for half, right?
Yeah. So all these, I'm a nutcase bloke, and Donald Trump with his funny wigs. Who's going to be backing them now, and how long is it going to be before the right-wing media in this country turns against the Tories? Because I think the tide is starting to turn a little bit, I think. That's my opinion.
I don't think that they ever will, because they are twinned at the hip. They benefit from each other's existence. I don't think they're going to go Labour.
They scratch each other's back. I understand that, but Tony Blair did go.
Well, that is true.
So we don't know. And I told you, producer, a funny name of a place, but I'll let him tell you because I don't want to say it on air just in case I get banned.
Oh, all right.
Okay. And the other one is, we was talking the other day and we got cut off. I think the phone wasn't working. When I asked you on your other show, I said, look, Brexiteers, are adamant that they were right. Yeah. And they're not going to change their minds.
Ever.
But if Brexit had worked, I think the Remainers would have turned around and said, yes, okay, fair play, it is working, we was wrong. Why is there a demographic difference between the two sets of people? What do you think?
I think that it is for two reasons. First is loss of face, which would be similar for both parties. If it had been a success, then Remoaners would have had to lose face and admit that they were wrong. But the other more important part is the loss of hope. See, these people, mostly poor people, who voted to leave the European Union, were given hope that their lives would get better. And if they finally admit that they've been had, then there goes not just the face that they would lose, but the hope. And that's a really desperately sad thing to lose. Ranjit, I've got to go, but thanks for that.
Go again.
No, I've got to go. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC. Oh, hey, if you're part of that Extinction Rebellion thing today, then call me up. I'd like to have a chat.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hello.
Do you mind if I say a few words? Thank you.
Poppy texts, for goodness sake, Nick, play that white woman clip. I want to get out of the bath and the plug runs very noisily. Yeah. I am British, I am white. I am a curious Christian. Now, does that mean... See, I gave two possible explanations for I am a curious Christian. She's curious about Christianity. Or the one that I didn't mention is maybe she is curious. That's a possibility, isn't it? She's curious about Christianity. Maybe she's just odd, curious. I suppose I'll find out when I play it. Shall I play it now? Well, in a minute. Cornwall. Hello, Malcolm.
Oh, Nick, how you doing?
Well, I normally say okay, but I am very, very ill.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Yes.
Oh, well. Nick, linking the Rob thing with the other ministers who have been in trouble and therefore sacked, and the ministers who are going to be sacked because there will be more. It's inevitable. It baffles me how these ministers, who are the people who are the most selectable in the eyes of any given prime minister, to be in the cabinet. So one of 22 people out of 380 Conservative MPs. And what absolutely baffles me, Nick, is that these ministers, secretaries of state, they cannot see that if they listened to half of what civil servants are telling them, they wouldn't be in any of the trouble that they are in. So you look at...
I think that the question, though, is, are they actively engaged in looking for trouble? I mean, because your suggestion is that they are making mistakes. To me, it looks more like the plan to constantly create chaos and trouble. That's what Boris Johnson did. That's what Donald Trump did. And the Tory party are now an offshoot of the Republican Party, which have had a reverse takeover by the Donald Trump wing of the crazy people in America. And we now have a Tory party that's had a reverse takeover of the ERG lot and the UKIP lot, and they're not the Tory party anymore.
But these are the ministers of whom I speak, Nick. And the point that I'm making is, let's pick Raab and Braverman. So Braverman with the Rwanda scheme, and Raab with the cuts in the legal system.
Yes.
Now, at the time, each of them have said, look, these civil servants are against me. Well, if Braverman had listened to the people who told her that, first and foremost, the Rwanda thing probably isn't legal. Secondly, and probably equally as important, it doesn't even resemble value for money in terms of the number of people you stop and the money you fork out. You look at Raab, the legal system. So the prisons are full. The queues to get into court are massive. Now, I know that civil servants will have been telling these two people, look, you're the minister, and you've got these insane ideas or fantastic ideas, whichever way.
Yes.
Or fantastic ideas, whichever way you look at them.
Yeah, fantastic, like science fiction.
Yeah, if we go with your ideas, you and we are going to be in a great deal of trouble here, and it's transpired. But the thing is, there's going to be more and more of it. The guy now, the new Justice Secretary, I've recently seen him once, twice on TV. He is a candidate for the next idiot of the month. The new second in line for PM. What's his face? The blonde-haired guy.
Yeah.
He's another candidate for disaster. And the thing is, Nick, it all comes back to the state that the country's in, which is through Brexit. And Brexit only occurred because absolute idiots were able to convince enough people to get Brexit over the line. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, Rishi Sunak will go down because of Brexit. All of these ministers that will go down because of the insane policies they're falling for. And that brings me back down to my point, Nick. I cannot believe how stupid these ministers are. It's just baffling.
Well, it's baffling if you start from the position that they are trying to do their best for the country. I don't believe that that's true. it's not an accident if they keep making the same mistake over and over and over again. It's not an accident, it's the plan. And to have constant fights with the European Court of Human Rights, with the judges in this country, the Supreme Court in this country, constant fights with lawyers, constant fights with you name it. They're just picking fights all the time in order to distract us from their abysmal record of about everything that they are responsible for. They're not trying, I don't believe, to actually make positive decisions for the benefit of the country. They're just trying to keep up the anger in their fans so that they will become motivated to vote for them at the next general election.
I don't think it simply ends then, because you go back to May's time, because she was the start of the whole Brexit thing, because she was the fool who picked up the mantle after the Brexit vote. The 20 points behind in the polls now. They were 25, 28 points behind in the polls, but they're still 20 points. So there is no plan of wanting chaos, of wanting this, because surely they're not thinking, well, look, if we cause as much stupidity as possible, more people will vote for it, because the polls are proving.
All right. Well, let me posit another theory. They know that they aren't going to win the next general election. So the plan, if there is one, is to strip the country for parts. If we were a car, we'd be up on bricks and they'd have nicked the wheels. To just take everything they possibly can and make everything as difficult as possible for the next party in power, which they will then blame immediately they lose the election for everything that is wrong in the country, which has been caused by the last 13 years of Tory misrule. And the people, just enough of them, will believe that. They will have the memory of a goldfish. They won't recall anything that's gone on in the last 13 or 15 years or whatever it is when we get there. And they will blame the Labour Party for the waiting lists of the NHS and for the skyrocketing inflation and for the disaster that is Brexit and everything. The people in power always get blamed for what it is that ails the nation, regardless of whether they've been in power long enough to affect it. And so they will think, well, we'll fill our pockets and those of our close personal friends with as much money as possible. Then we'll lose the next election. We'll regroup. We'll have 5 years we can put our feet up and smoke a cheroot and congratulate ourselves on a job well done. And then they'll get back in the next. In the election after that.
But the point is, Nick, and my worst nightmare is appearing as though I'm arguing with you on a Friday night, because that's not what the show is all about. The galling thing is, Nick, Boris Johnson, he could have had what he said. He wanted 3 terms in power. If it wasn't for Brexit, if it wasn't for the people he put in his cabinet and the people he threw out of the Tory party, he would have had 3 terms in power. So the reason I say it's stupidity, Sunak, now look, Sunak, if he played his cards right, he could beat Labour. I can see that a mile away. Yeah. But he's not. This is the point I'm making, Nick. They are so stupid that they can't even see that they really could win, for God's sake.
Well, that is also based on that Rishi Sunak and whoever happens to be in number 10 is the driving force of the party, and I suspect that the control is actually in the shadows behind them. He's just the haircut at the front.
I don't see how. All right, you're talking about the money behind the Tory party, but did you honestly think that the money behind the Tory party wants Rab drawing attention to the cause the way he does? Do you think that the people with the money want Braverman to be doing the things that she's doing? They can't do if such people exist behind the Tory party. It's
well, I think they're running on 2 fronts. There's this populist thing, and then there's the I mean, I know this sounds like a crazy conspiracy conspiracy theory, but I'm sort of running out of explanations as to the behaviour of this government, and this is what makes sense to me at the moment. There's the money people, the ERG lot and these supposed think tanks which pump untold millions into the Conservative Party to get them to act to their will. So there's that overall sort of plan of essentially trickle-up economics, taking money from the poor and giving it to the rich, which is going very, very well, by the way. I mean, if that is the plan, then it's a great success so far. But then there's also the populist thing where they're trying to keep on board the knuckle-dragging mouth breathers who like this policy of being cruel to minorities.
I think Labour will win the next election, and I think this whole edifice will collapse, and I think that side are going to lose Brexit. I mean, this evening, while I was waiting to speak to you, I was scanning Apple News, and there's a story about Smug saying that Raab should have held his ground, he shouldn't have gone, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he was doing an interview on GB News. And then the next paragraph is Dominic Raab is lining up a slot on GB News, and he'll be joining Esther McVeigh, Philip.
Right. Well, that's excellent, because if they all end up there, then we'll know where they all are. It'll be easier to avoid them. Here, Malcolm, I've got to go, but thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. And that's where this woman, this I am British, I am white woman, also resides. So maybe I'll play that in a minute. And I've been teasing this up for a while, so it better be good.
It is.
It's all on you. All right, then. 0345 606... Oh, dear. Sorry about that. My body's doing all sorts of weird sort of party tricks. I don't know whether I'm coming or going. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Right, so what are we doing?
Gibbon, we are doing a radio show, and I'm talking to a bloke in Hawley called Mark. Mark.
Hello, Nick. How you doing?
Yes, good, thanks. What's for dinner?
Said just before the 11th, dinner, I had potato pie, salad, and some gammon that I cooked in the oven a few days ago.
Yummy.
Yeah. On the subject of food, you got me cooking oven chips at like 1 o'clock in the morning about 3 weeks ago. That was a bit upsetting.
I think I finally cracked that whole cooking potatoes in an air fryer thing. So
okay, I don't have an air fryer.
I had some excellent sort of roasties tonight.
Good man.
Yeah.
Potatoes. Yeah. So look, before the 11th news, you said that if anyone was Extinction Rebellion today, you'd like a chat. So
yes. Wow, this is a very, very bad line, Mark. Well, carry on, but if it continues like this, we'll try and call you back. But so you were on the protest today. What happened?
It was a wonderful, peaceful day with lots of things going on. I've only been home about half an hour, so I haven't had the opportunity to see if there has been any news coverage. But I spoke to a lot of police officers.
Oh, yeah.
And I asked them if we were behaving well. And what I found particularly interesting was the closer you were to Parliament, the more professional and nice they were. And the further you got away, the more like, hello, mate, they became.
Oh, really?
And the most interesting thing was I was with my partner and a very old friend. And we were a fair way off. I think the last place we had been was the Home Office.
Yeah.
And one of the police vehicles had its engine running. And we had a chat with him and went, look, I'm really sorry, officer. It was actually my friend who spoke to him first, and then I just went over and joined in.
Yes.
But didn't say anything. And I was like, do you know why we're here? Because my friend said, do you know why we're here? Could you just turn off your engine? And he went, no, I need my heater on.
Right. He said.
And then he said, but me and most of the police are completely behind you guys. You're doing a great job, and we really respect what you're doing.
So how many people then were there about? Was it 10,000 or more?
That's so hard to see on the ground. You need a helicopter.
Yeah.
But there was one march at about 3:00 that felt like there was a good 10,000 there. It was strong.
So is it expected to be more tomorrow and Sunday then? Because, people won't be working, will they?
What I know is that 30,000 people signed up for it.
Yeah.
But that's obviously over the weekend.
So when they signed up, see, I've heard that figure over and over again, 30,000 people, which doesn't sound like a lot. Really, really bad line. It doesn't sound like a lot. So is that the extent of it? You would have to have signed up, otherwise you don't get to go. Is that right?
No, you get to go. I didn't sign up, but my partner did.
Right, okay.
So, the other friend that I just mentioned, he didn't sign up. So of the three of us today, two of us didn't sign up, one did.
I mean, I saw some, TV clips of what was going on, and it all looked perfectly pleasant. I mean, people were dressed up in costumes to attract attention, to get good pictures for the press, I suppose. If you just show up in jeans and a T-shirt, then that's not really going to provide the press with a very good picture. But there were people dressed up in all sorts of interesting costumes, and it all looked very polite. And I drove through Parliament Square this evening, and there was no one there at all. It had all been completely cleared away. Looked like everybody took their rubbish home with them, which is nice. But in the press, you people are described as zealots and a mob. How does that make you feel?
Well, first of all, as I understand it, I'm not a member of Extinction Rebellion. I just sympathise completely with what they're doing.
Right.
And I feel very much a part of that. And as I understand it, a couple of months ago, Extinction Rebellion said that they didn't want to disrupt anymore. They didn't want to create chaos.
Yes.
And everything was incredibly organised today. And I learned a lot of very interesting things about how much the oil companies, the BPs and the Shells and the Exxons of the world are generating in profit. And everything today was, I asked every police officer, how are we behaving today? And I spoke to, I would say, 8 to 10 different policemen. And every single one of them said, you're behaving really well.
Are you going tomorrow at the weekend?
No, tomorrow I have to work, and on Sunday I manage a Sunday League football team.
Oh, okay.
And that's, the fact that I'm mentioning a Sunday League football team in the same conversation as the Extinction Rebellion, I think speaks volumes. I mean, that's the kind of person that I am.
Yeah.
I'm committed to young people. My team are under 21s. That's what I'm doing on Sunday, and then I'll go back on Monday.
On Monday, right. So what's going to happen on Monday then? Because it seems odd that they're doing 4 days in a row to include Friday and Monday. Normally this sort of thing would be the weekend. So what do you know if anything particular is planned for Monday?
No, but what I do know is, because I have a great interest in politics, and but before I say this, I'd just like to say, Nick Abbott, your show is magnificent. This is the second time I've spoken to you, and you are one of the top broadcasters on that station. I know you're a very humble man, but I needed to get that into the conversation. So on Monday,
I think magnificent might be overselling me a bit, but go on.
No, I don't. I think you're in the top 2 presenters on LBC, without a doubt.
Well, that's very nice.
And I recommend that people who own Global give you a pay rise. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, on Monday, what's interesting is, like, as you know, the House of Commons Friday is private members' bill, so a lot of the MPs aren't in the House on Friday. On Monday, they have to go to the House.
Yeah. They leave. Yes.
Yeah.
Mark, the line is actually getting worse as we carry on, but I think we got the gist of it. Thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. I am curious as to what this person is going to say at this Reform UK, this video that they put out. Her name is, what is it? Alex Phillips, calls herself That Alex Woman, former MEP for the Brexit Party, head of media at UKIP, and they posted out this video, which I don't know anything about, but my glamorous assistant tells me that I should play, and I guess now might be a good time to play it. All right, so here it is. It's a video that they tweeted out themselves by Alex Phillips at the Reform UK. This is a conference that's going on now, is it?
Yes.
Right, okay, here we go.
British, and I am proud of my country's achievements and ethics. I am white and I don't feel ashamed. I am a woman and I don't have balls down there, but I have balls, I tell you that.
Whoa, steady on.
I'm straight, and I passionately believe in the sanctity of marriage as happy households make a healthy society.
Wow, look at that audience.
I am a curious Christian, and I rally against efforts to change 2,000 years of community and shared morality to fit in with some kind of neoliberal dogma.
What? Did that make sense?
This determination to dissolve the glue that has held us together for centuries and destroy a culture that has enabled us to thrive and to prosper in harmony is now so pervasive that most of our politicians dare not speak against it. Big corporations aren't challenging it. No, they're trying to profit from it. And we, the ordinary people, are being increasingly encouraged to just dumbly accept it when we really don't want to.
What's she talking about?
Did we not see in the recent SNP leadership election so clearly attacks on a Christian candidate who stood up for her beliefs? Only to be beaten by a man of Muslim faith, never once held accountable for his. Now, look, all I ask is that the playing field is level.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. When will white rich people ever get a break? Oh, my God, these people. Make Britain great. That's their phrase. That's their phrase. That's the phrase of the Reform Party. Make Britain great. You hear that, Donny? They're nicking your stuff.
Don't be rude.
Yeah, don't be rude, Reform Party. Very, very rude to steal. Make Britain great. How about make Britain great again? Because make Britain great implies that we didn't used to be great, or we have never been great. So what does that mean?
Well, it was like...
I'm offended.
A parody Liz Truss giving a speech at a local bowls club. Is that the equivalent?
Yeah, the audience, I've never seen an older, whiter collection of people in my life. I mean, most of them looked like they had, like about 5 years after death. They were all propped up. The only thing that was keeping them in their seats was rigor mortis. Good grief. Anyway, there it is. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 11:30, the news headlines with Daryl Jackson.
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
You're joking.
0345 6060 973. Dave texts, have you checked out Walter the Softie and the likeness to JRM? It is uncanny. Yes, Walter the Softie is a risible cartoon character from the Beano, and JRM is a risible cartoon character from the Conservative Party.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
Jim says, Sky News effectively coming to the defence of the PM and deck chair today. Are they? They are, I think, trying to compete with the BBC to become the state broadcaster, quoting suggestions that the civil service, the blob, may have been at fault and that the cabal of people who have never worked for or met Raab were conspiring against him. It was cringe-worthy to watch. They managed to find plenty of people who heaped sympathy and praise on Raab. Also, and most importantly, for no mention from Sky of the poor souls who had to endure this horrible man. They could at least have given out the number for the Samaritans for any viewers who are currently having to endure bullying at work. Well, I didn't see Sky News today, and I find that rather surprising that they would actually come to the defence of the indefensible deck chair. I find that unusual.
My name's Dominic Raab, and I'm a Tory.
I totally believe you. New Malden, Ahmed.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Ahmed.
Yes, I think I have to comment on this. It looks like there's no end to the falling standards and integrity of the government of the day.
How low can they go?
Is,
It seems an unlimited amount of depth that they can, or they always seem to find a new low.
Now, I mean, Dominic Raab has now gone. Who is next? I mean, what is going on? What sort of democracy we have where in the last 3 years we have had 4 prime ministers, well, since David Cameron, and they're all bad at each other. I mean, what is going on? And now we are obviously having to not just put up. Obviously they are in government and they are doing what they want.
Yes.
Without any, consideration as to long term.
Well, you can't expect a politician to be interested in the long term. They're all short-termists, and that is what we'll do for humankind. We keep voting for people that only have their short-term interests at heart. They aren't remotely interested in the long-term benefit for the country, because why would they be? They won't be here in the long term.
Well, of course, but the thing is, they are all here by default. If they weren't such a turnout of premiership of the government, these guys wouldn't have been in any consideration at all. And of course, most of them have either now been sacked or resigned. Yes. And this one shows how weak. Richie Sunak is just a weak. Well, Richie, I call him Richie because for obvious reasons.
Richie Rich.
Richie Rich. And
wow, another terrible line. We're losing you, Ahmed.
Must have been so devastating.
Right. Okay. I think we've lost you. That's another terrible line. Something is in the air. Maybe the phones have caught this thing that's going around. I know I have, but I'm not one to make a big thing about it.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Just wandering around the house going, Why does a cold make your muscles sore? What's that about? Because I'm climbing up the stairs like an old man. I'm climbing up the stairs like a member of the audience of that Reform Party woman. every now and again, when she was wittering on, they cut to the audience, and God, it was like a mummy exhibition at the British Museum. Sanjay texts, the Change UK clip could have been the sound of Liz Truss having an exorcism. An exorcism. This is all in capital letters like he's shouting at me. Glenn emails, why are you talking about snow when we can't even see naked breasts in the newspaper anymore? What? You snowflakes have ruined Britain. Spelt Brtton. Why are you talking about snow when we can't even see naked breasts in the newspaper anymore? You snowflakes have ruined Britain, says Glenn. All in capital letters, like he's shouting. What does that mean?
You'd have to ask Glenn.
Right, okay. Well, in that case, we'll never know, because I'm definitely not doing that. Tooting. Hello, Jan.
Oh, hi, Nick. Hi,
Jan.
Good evening. Yeah, I'm concerned about you and your chest.
Well.
No, I've got something interesting to. I think maybe you need to try it from another angle. Think about boosting and stimulating your immune system, because not just alleviating symptoms, but working at a deeper level. So there's lots of really interesting and very tasty things you can have for it. But like for instance, and also the other thing that that I use myself because some nights I have these bouts of sneezing and it's really, really frightening.
Sneezing? You have bouts of sneezing? Well,
maybe.
what do you do to bring that on?
I don't know. I'm afraid I might dislodge something in my head if I sneeze.
Maybe you have. Did you think of that?
Well, I don't know. Anyway, listen. I find also, besides, I'll tell you some of the foodstuffs, but also what I find helpful with the sneezing and the chest and clearing the air in the room is using. Yeah. Have you got a diffuser or aromatherapy thing to diffuse
certainly
essential
not
oils into? Well, eucalyptus oil. I sometimes just sniff it from the pure essential oil. Eucalyptus oil.
Right.
It's good. Look here, it's good like for the room. Listen what it helps with: viral infections, colds, cough, bronchitis. Well, you won't have whooping cough. Whooping cough.
No.
And muscular strains.
Yeah,
and
muscular strains.
Yeah.
I thought, just one of them smelly things for the rooms does all that? I seriously doubt it.
Don't be. Look, you want to get well, yes? So try. What have you got to lose with trying something to do?
I suppose so.
Yeah.
Won't this just cure itself eventually? I mean, I've had this. Hang on a minute. I've had this cold for now. It seems like a month. If it's the same one, can you actually get? Hang on a sec. Can you actually get two colds at the same time? Is that medically possible?
It depends. You might have different viruses.
Yeah.
The colds might be due to different viruses.
I swear, every time I get on a train these days, there's coughing and sneezing.
Yeah,
and
I don't go out without a mask.
People breathing all over me.
Yeah, don't you wear a mask?
God, no.
Well, I'm going to send you something. Send you some information.
Don't threaten me.
No, listen, Nick, please, seriously.
Yes.
To get better, you need to boost your immunity, and the things to boost your immunity.
That implies that there's something wrong with my immunity just because I got a cold. Listen here. So spinach, onions, and garlic are all rich in substances to enhance immunity and fight off infections. Boosting your immunity will help you fight off infections. Yeah.
So like some of the best foods to have are very nice foods, like the red fruits, the red black currants, raspberries, cherries, and strawberries. They're all rich in vitamin C.
Yeah, I like that.
And help fight. And there's other things, they call them flavonoids or antioxidants. I don't want to go into that.
I've been taking vitamin pills, and they make your pee like luminous orange. What's that about?
Yeah,
They do. They do.
You don't. Well, no, I think you won't. That won't happen if you eat black currants and raspberries and cherries. But listen, here, look, here it's got see, you got to. I'm going to send you some information, but vitamin C, of course, but iron in spinach helps fight infections.
Yeah.
Spinach, onions, and garlic.
Then you have to eat spinach, though, so that's out.
Well, if you don't like it, there's other foods you can eat, but you want to get better, right?
Yes.
So here, I've got a book on healing.
Oh no! Don't send me that.
Why are you so negative about what Nick?
I'm a very negative person, Jan.
Nick, there's so much scientific research to back up.
Please don't send me a book.
No, I'm not going to send you a book. Anyway, listen. So, if you don't like. I'll give you a recipe that's something. Garlic is one of the best substances to ward off a host of infections.
Yeah, I was talking to Carol McGiffin on our podcast about garlic.
Oh right, yeah.
And she told somebody, or she was on a cruise or something like that, and one of the people said, I think it was a waiter, said, "Oh, well, you want to eat a whole clove of garlic," but he didn't eat a whole clove of garlic. He ate a whole head of garlic.
Yeah,
he tried to eat a whole head of garlic in one go. Tried to swallow it with hang on a minute, with unpleasant consequences. And you'll have to listen to the podcast to hear what happened. But it was pretty stupid thing to do.
Yeah. So Nick, the thing is, I'll tell you, like for instance, onions. As well are good for you, but to stop the stomach getting irritated by, or to the delicate linings of the stomach and the colon.
It's very.
It's good
Did you just say colon?
Well, in the stomach. No, I mean, I'm saying what you can do. Like there's a very famous recipe of and it's a traditional one of chopping up onions.
Yeah.
And putting them in a bowl or glass jar and add honey to it, and it's great. It's raw onions. If you don't like raw onions, but you have honey, if you get
and then you eat that, do you?
No. It's amazing. I do it myself sometimes. The honey pulls out the juice from the onions.
But what do you do with it? So you put onions and then honey, and then what? You eat it?
Yeah, leave it for even a few hours overnight, and then it'll juice. You'll see a lot of juice as the honey draws out.
Yeah, and then what do you do with it?
Yeah, so it says here, take a teaspoonful every 2 hours while symptoms last.
I'm definitely not going to do that.
But you can chop up garlic and cover it with honey as well, but onions are powerfully
chop up a lot of onions and then cover it in honey and then throw it away.
No, listen, raw onions are powerfully antiseptic and their pungency stimulates the respiratory system, breaking up mucus congestion in the nose. Yes.
First you said colon, then you said mucus. Ew.
No. You don't take this seriously, Nick. And the other foods...
This is as serious as I'm getting tonight.
Yeah, here we are. So
here we are.
The foods, these are nice foods. Do you like blackcurrants and strawberries and things like that? And cherries?
Of course I do.
Yeah, they're antioxidants. They eat a lot of blueberries and things. They help kill off infection and boost the immune system.
I'll definitely
and the other thing
think about it.
Don't think about it. You need to do it. Look, drink decongestant. These are decongestant juices made with fruits such as cherries, blackberries, strawberries, plums, apples, mangoes, and vegetables such as carrots, beetroot, spinach, or you don't have spinach, celery, and herbs. The herbs are garlic, onions.
How about chips? Is that on the list at all?
Well, I know potatoes are very alkaline for the stomach. So if you suffer from acid stomach, potatoes aren't necessarily going to boost your immunity, but they're good. They're very alkaline.
But they taste nice,
for the body. I love potatoes. Yes.
Why? Who doesn't?
They're so versatile, aren't they? They can do.
You can do chips. You can do roast potatoes. Yeah, and then I run out. Here, Jan, I'm going to have to go, but thanks for that. 0345. Please don't send me a book. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Hot air. HOTAR.
Ollie says, I'm seeing a lot of hatred towards Mogg today from the left-wingers like you, and they are even mocking his Victorian style. Stop the hatred towards Mogg, please, says Ollie. Well, I assume that you're joking, and if you aren't, then get your head out your armpit, Ollie. He is not on your side, unless you too are a millionaire. Sook texts, do you think this was the plan all along so that Fishy Sunak could join his wife on non-dom status? I don't know why anybody who's worth that much would want to do this job. I mean, aren't you curious? What's he doing it for? Exactly. I mean, let's assume that it is not for the benefit of the nation, that he's not a kind and considerate person and he's really trying to do his bit for the country. So what is he personally getting out of this? I wonder. What's in it for him? 0345 6060 973. Let's have Hounslow. Vicky.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
All right, thanks.
Grand. Just to explain a little bit more about why what Jan was saying was making sense. A lot of the iron-rich foods, they'll help oxygen travel around your body, and that'll help relieve a lot of the aches and pains So especially if you've got things like leafy greens or sort of like the really gross, like the gross vegetables, basically, the ones that don't taste the nicest, they're usually the ones that are healthiest for you. They'll have the most iron that will help
Broccoli.
travel through your body.
Broccoli. Yeah, I had a
That's
load
a
of
good one.
broccoli tonight, and it had no effect whatsoever. I'm still walking around the place going,
Yeah, it will take a little bit of a minute, but that with some B12 complex and vitamin D. The one thing about the albus oil is when it clears your nasal passages, it also allows more oxygen to travel through your body. Again, that'll help relieve some of the pain. And some of the lemon juice, like the linoleum in lemon, is an antibacterial, so that'll help clear up some of the germs. The honey just makes everything taste better. It does help, but a shot of whiskey is something I definitely recommend.
Right, here we go. Finally.
Yeah.
I can get
Helps
on
you
board
breathe
with
better,
that.
sleep better.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, thanks a lot, Vicky.
Booze.
There you are.
Just with regards to Dominic Robb's dismissal,
Yes.
this whole thing, and then hearing this woman come on about being some unashamed white Christian who believes, et cetera, I think that having lost someone who has a strong sense of purpose in his job role and is being condemned for having a strong leadership position sort of coincides with this woman's attempt to sort of separate herself as someone who is quite different, because you've got very stark, different personalities. And, I mean, she reminded me a bit of Tommy Robinson in a way. There was an effect where it seemed like she was willing to bash someone of a different faith, when in Christianity there's the saying that you must get your house in order first before judging others, but also to treat everyone, kindly, your enemies as your friends. But the Muslim faith does consider Christ to be a teacher. So
Okay, all right. Now, hang on right there. Hang on. Whoa, Nelly. I'm definitely not having a conversation about religion on this show. Not now, not ever, never.
Yeah.
But I got to go. Thanks, Vicky. I'll keep in mind that whole whiskey issue, or brandy, or whatever it is that you said. 0345 6060 973. All I got from what that woman was saying was that it's essentially one long whine about how white, middle-aged, straight people never get a fair shake of the what do you get a shake of? What's the rest of that?
Fair crack of the whip.
A fair crack. Well, yeah, all right. And a fair crack of the whip. Yeah, when are rich white people ever going to get a break? Yeah. It's just so silly. I mean, really, what's happening in this country? Alicante. Hello, Jane.
Oh, good evening, Nick.
Hello, Jane.
I'll keep it simple.
Yeah.
Firstly, Tiger Balm.
What's that?
Tiger Balm is fantastic.
What is it?
It is a pure ointment which I believe originated out east, probably Thailand.
Do they actually have to kill the tiger to get it, or can they just squirt it out of it?
No, sweet. They don't extract anything from the tiger. But honestly, that on your chest or a headache, any pain you've got on your muscles, you rub it in, and I guarantee you it will help.
What does it smell like? Does it smell like tigers?
It smells, yeah. I mean, because I've laid with tigers. And
You've done what now?
I laid with tigers.
You laid with tigers?
Yes, I did, but that's a whole other story.
It's a very interesting story. How did you lie with a tiger?
Well, I was in Thailand and I was laying with tigers, but there we are.
Were they chained to the ground? Did they have their paws?
No.
Like,
they were walking around, but I want to help you anyway.
Yeah.
So, Tiger Balm, trust me, works.
Okay.
Pure CBD oil works.
CBDBD, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Want to score some pot?
Yeah.
Yeah, but pure. Thirdly, black pepper. Do you like black pepper?
Well, I put it on stuff, yeah.
Black pepper.
But I wouldn't eat it on its own.
No. I haven't had any vaccinations. I've never caught the bad bat disease, as you call it.
Yeah.
And black pepper is one of the best ways of keeping colds and flus.
Well,
and
what do you do with it?
Just put it on your food as
Well,
you
I do
eat
that.
it. Well, keep doing it, but more, Nick, more.
Right, more. Okay.
Yeah. And tiger balm.
Tiger balm, yeah. Poor little
Trust me.
tigers. Oh.
It's not the tigers. It's nothing.
They get a tiger and they have to squirt at its balm. Awful.
No, trust me, it is. You try it, and every ache in your body, when you've put it on.
You stop thinking about all your aches because the smell is overwhelming.
No, the smell is fantastic.
Right.
And you can put it. You can sniff it. You can
Snort it, pop it.
snort it. I mean, literally. But I guarantee you.
Yeah, you're guaranteeing me a lot.
I am guaranteeing you because.
All my money back?
I have I have rheumatism in my neck.
Yeah.
And it's the only thing that works.
Right. Okay, excellent work there, Jane. Thanks for that. You know what you want to do with the rheumatism? Get some pepper. I've heard that tiger balm is good. Poor little tigers. Ah. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
This is absolute tosh.
What number are you calling from?
0345 6060 973. Sarah texts, a down-market news outlet had Smug interviewing a climate activist. When Smug pointed out that without oil there would be no lights, the activist said that at least he wouldn't be able to see him. That's true though, isn't it, Smug?
I don't know anything.
He doesn't know anything. Good point. Elizabeth says, I've just come in from the garden where I was fighting a losing battle with a nest of venomous centipedes. Centipedes have nests, do they? Venomous? I wouldn't usually bother, but they are huge and my dogs are small. Anyway, I gave up. It's midday and 80 degrees on a rock in the Pacific. See, I thought, from the first sentence, I thought, well, there's no way that that's here. Venomous centipedes. God, there's another excellent reason not to leave the country. Let's have, let me see now. Ealing, Stuart.
Hey, can you hear me, yeah?
Yes, Stuart.
Yeah. I was going to say, just before I say what I was going to say, have you tried soup? Because if you're really run down, they sell in these whole food shops like Planet Organic or something, like bone broth.
Ew.
Like chicken. Sounds gross, doesn't it?
No.
But I think that would definitely boost your kind of your immunity for sure.
Well, chicken soup is supposedly the cure-all, isn't it? And I think that soup is a good thing because it doesn't take your body any effort to digest it because it's already liquefied.
They're all these health shops are well into it, like this fresh broth. You can get like beef broth or chicken broth, and it has some nice stuff in there as well, vegetables and kind of some other stuff.
Well, I'll have to take a trip to a more salubrious area because where I live, they haven't got no health stores like that.
Really?
No.
All I would say is, you were a bit kind of, not confused, but you wondered what she was going on about, this woman from the Reform Party.
Yes.
It's my opinion that we're starting to see this trickle over from the US. There's a lot of voices in the US now, essentially they came from conservative Christians in the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
And they're very, very anti-gay, anti-trans, anti-gay marriage. And they all talk about core values, core Christian values, and they skirt around the subject. They don't say what they actually mean, because what they actually mean is actually pretty terrible, in actual fact.
Well, they're using religion as a weapon.
Say it. Say again?
They're using religion as a weapon. They're not Christians at all.
No, they're not. And so in America, you have that going on. And then over the last year, if you dig, you'll find pretty easily that in actual fact there's a lot of conservative political voices as well that are saying very similar things to these conservative Christians. And they're skirting around the subject. They're not talking directly because it's actually pretty insidious. It's pretty gross what they're actually, if they came out, and actually,
it's coming here in large numbers. Yeah, it's everything that happens in the States politically.
This woman, in my opinion,
is also...
she's very similar. She's talking about key Christian values. She's a curious Christian.
What the hell does that mean?
Well, basically, that I think I was going to be a priest in the Church of England, right, and dodged a bullet there, I think, because they're going through like absolute crisis at the moment in terms of what they believe. But I think that calling herself a curious Christian basically means that she's willing to put her kind of like her opinion on the line if needed. To say what she really truly believes. She's probably homophobic.
Well, we don't know that, but if I had to bet one way or the other, then I know where I'd put my fiver. Yeah, all right, got to go. Thanks, Stuart. 0345 6060 973. Amanda says, one of your samples, no. Can I ask, is it Laurel and Hardy?
No.
Yes, it is. Says, my pops recently passed away, and it was he who introduced me to the wonderful duo. Hearing that sample really makes me smile. Yes, Amanda, it is Laurel and Hardy. Best double act ever. With the possible exception of Tom and Jerry, but, that doesn't really count because they're cartoons. Dan emails, I see former Junior President Dominic Raab, Junior Vice President. What? I see former Junior Vice President Dominic Raab is complaining that being sacked for sustained bullying of multiple civil servants is Kafkaesque. It's not Kafkaesque. It's a one-course meal consisting only of sweet puddings. It's just desserts. Oh, a listener with material.
Oh,
no. That was torturous. Marty says, why didn't Fisher use a ChatGPT robot to replace the Tetchy humanoid? Which Tetchy humanoid are you talking about?
My name's Dominic Raab, and I'm a Tory.
Yeah, I believe you. You keep saying that. I believed you the first time. If you didn't read his letter of resignation, I'll sum it up for you. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was about it. You don't need to waste any time on it. That was it, essentially. It weren't me. Same kind of idea as Boris Johnson getting pushed out at number 10 and flailing around, his fans flailing around and blaming everybody else. Oh, it's the blob, it's the wokerati, it's this and it's that. No, it's Boris Bloomin' Johnson. He's the person that got Boris Johnson out of number 10 and nobody else. None of that lot, they seem to take responsibility for anything they do. Oh, they take the credit if by accident something they have tried actually works in any way, but they don't take the blame when it fails or when their own behaviour is called into question. Oh, it was always somebody else's fault. Weren't me, miss. It's just, I don't know. I sort of vacillate between this is a silly country and this is actually really becoming a quite frightening country. Maybe it's a combination of the two. Maybe this guy was elevated to the top job for comedy reasons.
I'm gripping it.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Wembley. Hello, Mike.
Hi. Hello?
Yes, Mike.
Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, I was just going to say, we've got a good signal. I'll pop outside the door. You got me?
Yes.
I was going to just talk about Rishi and
He's been the most impressive one. I mean, obviously he has difficulties, but I'm so impressed that he hasn't come in winding up the world war situation that we're now in with China and Russia. He hasn't said a word about that. He's been like a Henry Kissinger. You know, and that's important.
He hasn't said a word about what?
About he hasn't gone in abusing the Russians. He hasn't gone in abusing the Chinese. You know, he's been careful with it. It's been said behind closed doors, but he hasn't come out publicly and been abusive to them. Because
what do you mean abusive? We're providing Ukraine with weapons and technology and, by some accounts, actual real-life soldiers.
But yeah, well, yes, by some accounts, but he hasn't sort of said we're going to fight to the last Ukrainian, as the Americans are saying. I think he's been very, very wise to moderate his speech on it, because I think immoderate speech in a difficult situation it makes it worse at all times.
Well,
you know, and
I'm not sure. I mean, you could say that's just weakness. That's one of the reasons why Vladimir Putin felt emboldened to go into Ukraine in the first place.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, I take your point on that, but my feeling is once two thinking men, like Khrushchev and Kennedy, two thinking men, they sorted a problem out in probably half an hour. That's all they need. They need thinking men, and I like the way Rishi's come across as a thinking man. He's not going in.
A thinking man. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, Mike. A thinking man. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I don't think he thinks too well. I mean, just look at the people he surrounds himself with. I mean, it's just a catalogue of failures. It's just extraordinary how bad his choice of people is. I mean, hang on a minute. I've got files of his most recent failures. I've got so much paperwork. It's just the words are swimming before my eyes. Have I mentioned that I'm very, very ill?
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Yeah, no. Anyway, I mean, the people. There was Nadeem Zahawi.
So obviously
him, and pretty much everybody that he's elevated to a position of authority has been absolutely dismal at best in their task. How many people is he going to go through? How long has he been in that job? It's about 6 months, something like that. He's already had to let go 3 people. I mean, that's got to be an absolute record. A thinking man, I beg to differ. I think he thinks about his own remuneration, the increase in his wealth. I think he thinks about that a lot. There was a very interesting article in where is it? I'm not going to be able to find this either. This show is a catastrophe. I'll come to that in a minute, if I can find it. There's an interesting article, I think it's Byline Times, about the amount of his affairs that he actually admitted to or declared. And it's essentially not much. You know, for a man who's worth so much, we don't really know where his money is or who it's with or how he or his wife can maybe benefiting from government policy. I mean, it's all very opaque. I mean, terribly so, you'd think. So he thinks about some things, but I'm not sure any of them are beneficial to the nation. And many of them aren't beneficial to him personally. I mean, this catastrophic clown show that is this sort of moving catastrophe of the Tory party. He is chief among those responsible. So thinking, I don't really buy that. What's this?
That's the story you were looking for.
Oh, right. Yes, that's right. Adam Bienkov, who does excellent work. Yeah, all right, I might come to that. Gosh, you've been really on the ball. It's a good job that one of us is. 0345 6060 973. It's Nick Abbott on LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Shut up. I can't. I did mention the podcast that I did with Carol McGiffin a little while ago, by the way. It was in relation to somebody not eating a clove of garlic, as was the suggestion, in order to, I think it was to cure a cold. They decided to eat a whole head of garlic and try to swallow it in one go with the expected consequences. And if you want to hear that, then I think it's the most recent one that's up there, the podcast that we do. There's well over 150 that we've done together now. We've done 150 podcasts plus without actually coming to blows. It's a remarkable, considering we don't agree about anything. But the idea of the podcast is that we solve people's problems. Now, if you want us to have a bash at your issue, then send it to the following address, nickandcarol@global.com, NICKANDCAROL @global.com, and prepare to be totally satisfied. Ask for the podcast by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol? Let's have a call in. Have I spoken to this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've spoken to him already. Yeah. Kingston, Sophie.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Sophie.
Oh, you're an absolute joy. You brighten up my life, really, with all of this. With all of this rubbish going on, it's just so good to hear your voice.
It's just, I just don't think I can take it anymore.
Neither can I. But you seriously, you know, to masses of your listeners, you really cheer us up.
Well, that's very nice. Thank you.
And we need it, you know, because it's difficult times out there. The only, I want to tell you a cure for your cold, but before I do that, I love Jan, who calls you.
Yes.
But is she taking some sort of natural amphetamines?
I don't know, but I would suggest decaffeinated coffee once in a while.
Okay. So you know she's absolutely gorgeous. So yes. I don't want to dish her because she's gorgeous and I love her calls.
And we don't want to start listeners picking fights with each other.
No. I don't want to do that at all. But she's a joy with her natural sort of speed head on.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, a cure. Yes. How about a pint of whiskey?
Oh.
With
a little bit
some
too much
honey
whiskey.
and honey and lemon in it, you know.
Well, maybe not a pint.
It will knock you out.
Well, that seems like overkill to me. But, no, I can't drink on a work day. I mean, it would have to be at 2 o'clock in the morning when I get back. And that's just too late to start drinking. You can't do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just joking. Right. But, you know, I just thought I'd phone in and say hello.
Right. Well, hello.
God bless you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Sophie. 0345 6060 973. Salford. Hang on a minute. Gaz. Hello, Gaz.
Hey, Nick.
Gaz.
Hey, Nick. How are you doing, pal?
All right, thanks.
Enjoy your show, as always.
Cheers.
Just a quick one, and I'll bugger off. On Dominic Raab, he just doesn't take responsibility for his own actions, and I find it very frustrating. It's like, why not? I mean, we all know what he's done, and it's like he just doesn't care. It's like it's everybody else's fault.
It seems to be the way of the regime that when they're brought to book for their own actions, it's always somebody else's fault.
Yes, And it's like, whatever happened to personal responsibility?
Well, out the window.
Where's that gone?
Yeah, I think that started with a certain individual who I shan't mention by name.
Yeah. Wait.
But I think it all started with him.
Yeah. It's sad. It's sad. And it takes a lot of courage for people to come forward that have been bullied.
Yeah.
And, it does, because...
Absolutely, yes, of course it does. And particularly if that person that is doing the bullying remains their boss while they're making that complaint. I mean, they would have to assume that their career is in the toilet. So an enormous amount of courage to actually stand up for themselves. And because of that, you would have to assume that way more people than actually made a complaint were subject to bullying.
Exactly. There's no contrition with him at all. He thinks it's always someone else's fault.
Yeah.
He thinks that, well, this happened, someone else to blame. But, you take responsibility. An apology would have probably gone a long way. But he's not apologetic. He's doubling down.
Yeah.
And it's not right.
Well, that seems to be also the way. When in doubt, just restate your case, but more loudly. And it's
Trumpism.
Trumpism. Yeah, precisely right. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Gaz. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, this is this article by Adam Bienkov in Byline Times about Fishy Sunak's affairs. After weeks of headlines about the Prime Minister's failure to publicly declare his wife's shares in a childcare company, which his own government has handed subsidies to, Downing Street has now finally published an update to its register of ministerial interests. So, problem solved. Nothing to see here. Please move along. The update, says Adam, is quite spectacularly unrevealing. While details of Fishy Sunak's involvement with his local Rotary Club, brass band and community pub are included on the register, significant details of his own personal financial investments and those of his wife are not. First of all, can you see him actually being involved in a brass band? I mean, that's not him, is it? And neither is it him being involved in a community pub. Please. Asked on Wednesday by Byline Times why such potentially massive conflicts of interest had been excluded, a spokesmodel for Sunak insisted that only such declarations judged to be relevant had been added to the list, which sounds very much like, don't question us, peasant. This means that while, according to Sunak, the fact that he is a patron of his local brass band is judged to be relevant, interest relating to be a relevant interest relating to his role as Prime Minister, the fact that his wife is now set to potentially massively financially benefit from a government policy is not. I mean, that sentence alone tells you everything you need to know about the current regime. I mean, talk about fobbing us off with minimal information. This arrangement, anyway, also not included on the new register are any of the Prime Minister's own personal financial interests, save from the fact that they are now contained within what Downing Street referred to as a blind management trust. Yeah, another one of these. This arrangement is ostensibly designed to prevent the Prime Minister from personally being involved in any future investment decisions that may affect his own policies. However, by placing his existing investments within this blind arrangement, the public are prevented from ever knowing which government policies are directly enriching the Prime Minister and his family. Correctamundo. It's hard to think of a reasonable justification for his continued refusal to be fully open about his own financial interests and those of his wife. I can't think of a reasonable justification. Questioned by Byline Times, Sunak's spokesmodel insisted that all of his relevant interests have been fully declared to his own advisor on ministerial interests, who they claimed had independently decided that those relating to his wife should not be made public. Yeah, there's a couple of problems with that. The first is that the Prime Minister's so-called independent advisor on ministerial interests isn't independent at all. Far from being an impartial authority on these matters, the bloke is in reality a direct appointment of Fishy Sunak himself. The second problem is that the Prime Minister's supposed declaration is not in fact a declaration in any commonly understood meaning of the term if the only person to have been told about Sunak's wife's shares was an advisor working for Fishy Sunak himself. And if that declaration was never at any point put on the public record, then how can Downing Street possibly continue to label it a declaration at all? Yeah, I think we've been here before.
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
Yeah, I believe you.
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
I believe you.
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
You know what? I don't believe you. It's just the same old, same old. Don't question us, peasant. Again and again and again. But that's where we are now. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
Texts and emails. Clive says, can you improve the weather, please? I'm in China right now on a business trip and it's been 30 degrees. I need warm weather to return to. 30 degrees. Oh. I mean, I know it's not actually properly summer yet, but it seems like we're overdue a bit of nice weather, doesn't it? Mike says, Raab's defences seems to be that he was just a little bit of a bully. See also similar Tory party excuses widely used, just a little bit racist and just a little bit stupid. Yeah, it was just a little light bullying, nothing serious. Didn't leave any welts. And Lucy says, so Raab accepted that he had to resign because of the investigation upholding bullying claims made against him, but still effectively thinks the civil servants concerned are snowflakes. Good to know he's got his alternative facts in order. Yeah, that was the worst resignation letter ever. But totally on brand with Dominic Raab.
My name's Dominic Raab, and I'm a Tory. I don't support the Human Rights Act, and I don't believe in economic and social rights. My name's Dominic Raab, and I'm a Tory.
Yeah, I believed you the first time. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 12:30. The news headlines with Daryl Jackson. Oh, there will be a short pause. My pills are wearing off.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Everything is going extremely well.
You bet your life it is. Graham texts, Tice, Fabricant, Farage, Banks, Wigmore, Oakshott, all sticking up for Raab. They can't all be wrong, can they? Let's think about that.
Yes.
Yes, they can. Tessa says, Raab didn't realise that Dover to Calais was a thing. He thought it was Cover to Dalles. No wonder he's so woefully inept. Michael says, any thoughts on Frank Ocean's disastrous Coachella set? I've absolutely no idea. So no is the answer to that. I have no thoughts on that, not being as how I know nothing about it. Hackney, Delphi.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, hello. I'm on his side, actually, in some ways.
Whose side?
Raab, I know his first name.
You're on his side, but you don't know what his name is. Right, okay.
No, I've heard of it today. I've heard of it. Raab and Dominic, somebody's taken over. Will he be much better? I believe, right?
Yeah.
It was like Boris Johnson, when they were all backstabbing him, this woman, 21 years later, said he put his hand up her skirt. Why did she report it? People going on the bandwagon, following the herd.
Right.
This guy, right, and he resigned. He got into that job, and Rishi Sunak had faith in him. I believe there was a lot in politics, backstabbing, right? And maybe he's a bit like Basil Fawlty. his personality gets misunderstood, because I heard he could be very nice, because I'm a bit like that.
You're a bit like what?
Intimidating, aggressive, but you've got to understand it. It's the way he is, and he can be nice, and he doesn't suffer fools gladly.
Right. Okay.
And there's a lot of jealousy, like my mum said. And I've seen a picture of him.
Like
he
your
looks
mum
like
said. Yeah.
Yeah, my mother was very intelligent. Jealousy in this world and religion is the worst. It's a lot. That is what's wrong with this world. Religion.
It's one of the things that's wrong with the world.
Jealousy.
Yeah. Right.
And
Okay.
jealousy.
All right. Okay. Neither of which has anything to do with what we're talking about. But you have only heard about it today. You don't know what his name is, but you have a very, very strong opinion. I understand. Thanks, Delphi. I've got no idea what that thing is that she said about Boris Johnson. I hadn't heard that before, so we'll just pretend that we didn't hear that. The Frank Ocean story. Right, who's Frank Ocean?
Popular R&B artist.
R&B artist. Singer says first performance isn't what I intended following leg fracture and sprain. Well, that's not a good start, is it? He fractured his leg and he sprained himself. What, during the performance?
Well, it says with reports of an ice rink stage being dismantled hours before. So it's like he's been messing about on that.
All right. Well, so he went skating, and then was the skating part supposed to be a bit of the show?
No, I think I was reading, I don't know if it's the first time, but they've put a rink at Coachella this year.
Yeah.
So it sounds like he's been on it, fractured his leg,
right.
and then done a really bad performance, so has then left it.
Okay. And that's what people are complaining about? He had a broken leg, for crying out loud. Leave him alone.
Yeah, but he shouldn't be messing about on ice rinks.
Well, I guess not, no. But, well, you know, people mess about on ice rinks.
Yeah, but
Coachella.
he's headlining.
Where is Coachella?
It's America, isn't it?
It's in the middle of the desert, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Exactly, that's why it's all a bit
An
weird.
ice rink in the middle of the desert?
Exactly.
That's not very eco. Anyway, I've got no idea. And furthermore, I couldn't care less. I'm completely clueless on that whole Frank Ocean thing. I don't even know who he is. If you held a gun to my head, I would not be able to sing a Frank Ocean song. I bet you wouldn't be able to either. Not just me. Frank Ocean has cancelled his second performance scheduled for this weekend at Coachella. A week after his first performance, his first live show in 6 years, left many fans disappointed and confused.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
A representative for the musician confirmed to Rolling Stone, the magazine, not the band, on Wednesday night that the upcoming performance had been cancelled because the singer had suffered a leg injury during the festival's first week. What an idiot. He had received medical advice not to perform again due to 2 fractures and a sprain in his left leg. He said it was chaotic. There is some beauty in chaos. It isn't what I intended, but I enjoy being out there. I'll see you soon. Anyway, and this article goes on and on and on like it's actually important. But, you know, The Guardian picks and chooses what it thinks is and is not important based on, I've got absolutely no idea. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to it. And nor is there a rhyme or reason to the people that they support and don't support. I mean, I've seen articles praising to the skies rappers who say the most awful things, and then they'll get their knickers in a twist about somebody who tells a joke in a 1970s fashion. So there's no, there doesn't seem to be any logic in their position. They're all over the place. But anyway, I've got no idea about that whole Frank Ocean issue, if that's any help. But I don't think that having an ice rink in... what's this? What's that?
That is Frank Ocean.
Oh, what's the baby?
I've got no idea.
He's holding a green baby, which looks like a cruel and unusual punishment to me. What have they been feeding that baby to make it turn green?
Probably the ice rink.
No, that would be blue. It would turn blue, not green. That's an alarming colour for a child, assuming that it is a child. Anyway, Katie says, are you still moaning about Brexit? Change the record of your constant whinging. It is so boring, says Katie. Katie, I will be moaning about Brexit until the time at which Brexit actually becomes a net benefit for this country. You don't get to make a stupid decision and drag the entire country out of a beneficial arrangement, and then when it's shown to be a stupid decision, you get to just wash your hands of it and walk away. No, 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 no.
No.
No. I'm going to be throwing it in your face all the time, because why should I suffer and you just waltz off? Like, I mean, it's like it's like you made a great big mess on the floor and then waltzed off, and then are whining that people are complaining that you just did that. Chris emails, No Jacket Required by Phil Collins is the best album of all time. Fact. No, it really isn't. It just so totally isn't. No Jacket Required by Phil Collins is the best album of all time. That is so wrong, I don't even know where to start. Gordon says, I think the question has to be, Nick, how much more integrity can this country take?
This government will have integrity, professionalism and accountability at every level.
Yeah, no, it won't. I just wonder where they're going to go now. I mean, what has the Tory party actually got, apart from this phony war on woke and dinghy spotting? What else do they have to recommend themselves to the country? What are they going to be fighting on in the next general election? I mean, we got that 30p Lee bloke who said the quiet part out loud that they're going to be fighting the next election on wokery and trans issues, that's going to be their thing. I mean, for God's sake, we're being run by children. And, by the way, this week, I think it was at Prime Minister's Questions, wasn't it? Fishy Sunak piped up with calling Keir Starmer Mr. Softy. Oh, my God. We are being run by children. It's pathetic. But what have they got apart from that now? Name-calling and wokerati, which is also name-calling. I mean, they're not the party of law and order. The forces of law and order have been more interested in the affairs of the regime than any other in history. Number 10 isn't a residential office complex. It's a crime scene. And they're not the party of the NHS. Safe in their hands. I don't think so. And they're not the party of fiscal prudence. I mean, on Fish's watch, £50 billion, not million, billion, of our money just vanished. How can that much money just vanish? Where's it gone? And his response to that is releasing some tough guy video of government officials breaking down the door of someone who's overclaimed on a fiver on their benefits. So given that they can't offer anything that would ordinarily be, the Tory party's attraction, that they would normally go to the country on at a general election, all they have left, it seems, is cruelty to the desperate and the homeless, and calling Keir Starmer things like Mr. Softy, which was, I think they nicked it from The Sun, didn't they? Which is not The Sun's finest hour, really. I mean, it's just sad. Is that all they can come up with? I just despair. I mean, I really do. What the hell is going on in this country? I mean, it was just pathetic. And he was so pleased with himself when he said it as well, wasn't he? I mean, he picked up his little book and he plopped himself down on his little seat as though he'd somehow won that debate at PMQs. During which, by the way, he lied his face off. He actually had the nerve to say that under the Tories, crime had gone down by 50%. No, it's actually gone up by 50%. He came to that figure by simply ignoring fraud, as though the victims of fraud don't mind all their money being taken from them. Integrity? I don't think so. And the nodding dogs on the Tory benches were all at it today. I mean, I haven't heard any of them call that legal expert who wrote the report an activist lawyer yet, but it can't be far off. And Raab said the civil servants that complained about him were activists, and I don't really know where to start with that. Well, I could try. How about they get another set of focus-grouped words and phrases? Because the ones they keep using are getting really tired. I mean, anyone with a conscience is an activist, or a lefty, or part of the wokerati. They're going to have to come up with better material than that, because if they're still using those ones, their fans are going to get bored well before the next general election. There's only so many times you can holler about someone being an activist, even if you are Jonathan Gullis. 0345 6060 973, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
I think those pills really are wearing off. Here we go.
Come on,
we're running late. Yeah, that's the one I play. 0345 6060 973. Do you need more pills? It's the message from next door. Yeah, but you can only take so many in any given day. And I am becoming very concerned. No, you're not.
I am very concerned.
Yeah, sure you are. What, for your own health?
Yes.
Yeah, but we got 3 panes of glass between us. You won't get the lurgy from me. Just don't come into this little booth after I'm finished. Archie says, do you think that Putin, rootin' tootin' shootin' Putin, is looking at our government and thinking, if I nuke them all, am I doing the country a favour? Yeah, probably not, no. Phil says, listeners are much more interested in your health than Raab's resignation. Shows you how more important you are than that nasty geezer. Yeah, well, whenever I have, well, this happened last week as well, and I don't encourage it, but people do have all sorts of strange and unusual cures for what it is that ails me. And I appreciate it. I'm not saying that I'm actually going to take your advice, but I appreciate you giving it to me. Richmond, Phil.
Hey, hi, Nick. Hold on. I've got to turn my microphone off. Is that better?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, I've been in and out because I've had the bug, some kind of bug too, but I'm not going to give you any advice.
Right.
One of the last things I heard was this woman about the tiger balm.
Yes.
The woman who lay down with tigers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, tiger balm is great. I love it, but it's got nothing to do with tigers.
Poor little tigers. They grab a tiger and then squirt out the balm.
No, so I really love that. That was total nonsense, but she meant well.
Yes.
Now, the last thing I heard from you, in and out of awakeness, was about the terminology people were using. And the one that I got from Raab today was passive-aggressive. Now, I'm a wordsmith. At least that's what my friends call me. That's my job.
Mm.
And what does passive-aggressive mean? I have no idea. If I wrote that for my editor, I'd probably be fired.
Well, it is a thing.
But it's an oxymoron. How can you be passive and aggressive at the same time?
Well, I guess, yeah. Well, I suppose so, yes.
Well, that's just one of the things. So the other thing that struck me was Raab mentioned it was anti-democratic what had been done to him. Oh. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, this government was elected by itself. The last 2 prime ministers we've had were not democratically elected.
Absolutely.
Correct.
So, I mean, how are they talking about democracy? They voted for each other.
Yeah, some nerve, exactly.
Right. I think I'll leave it at that unless you got time to waste.
Time to waste? Well, I got no end of time. Why, was there something else you wanted to say?
Not really.
Not really, okay. Excellent work. Thanks a lot, Phil. 0345 6060 973. Well, I looked up passive-aggressive. I wasn't aware that that's one of the things that Deck Chair said today. Was he saying that he himself was guilty of passive-aggressive behaviour, or it was other people? And they're all picking on me. God, it's so pathetic. Passive-aggressive behaviour is defined as when you express negative feelings indirectly instead of openly talking about them. Right. So avoiding confrontational conflict, not setting boundaries, not speaking up for yourself, not asserting yourself. That's not what I would have... That's passive behaviour. Right. Passive-aggressive behaviour, indirectly aggressive rather than being directly aggressive. For example... you can look it up yourself. For example, etc. and so on. Johnny says, Rob has a black belt in origami. Well, that's a very dangerous skill. Graham says, I work around the Esher area, and you're right, it's as blue as anything. It really is, Esher. It doesn't get posher than Esher. He says, but there are very few Tory posters up this time around. All looks like Lib Dem and Residents Association to me. Well, what's interesting is that the Tory party know that their brand is so tarnished that they've dropped their own logo on some leaflets that they've been putting out. In fact, they've dropped their own colour. They're putting out leaflets that are green, as in they're eco. We know that ain't true. But, so weird. I mean, I don't know whether the Green Party would be happy or upset by that, because it'll just look like a lot more Green Party leaflets. But some of them are actually supporting the Conservative Party. They've gone green, but only in colour. You would think that would give a boost to the Green Party, because when people come to put their cross, they don't really. I mean, do you really know all of the names on the ballot paper that you get? Of course not. Nobody does. You just pick the party that you like. And so if you've been peppered with leaflets that are coloured green, then that's going to be front of mind. Then the Tory party don't seem to be very good at politicking, apart from anything else. Gordon text, did you see the Mike Lindell, the Make America Great Again, the My Pillow guy? He challenged someone to prove... Hang on. He challenged someone to prove that his figures about the 2020 election were wrong, and he would give them $5 million. He lost and will now have to pay up. Wow. Yeah, I'll believe that when I see it. Rafi, this is after the Dominion voting win. The machines that they used, that Fox News, and Donald Trump kept blathering away that if you gave a vote for Donald Trump, the machine actually gave it to Biden, which is completely untrue. And so the Dominion voting machines took Fox News to court. I think they were trying to sue them for $1.5 billion. And they settled for about half that. So they got $750 million as a settlement. Now, that's not where Fox News troubles end, because there's another voting machine company that I think is trying to sue Fox for twice that amount. I think it's $3 billion. So if they get half of what they're asking for, then that's $2.25 billion they would have had to pay out. But that's not the end of their problems, because shareholders, who are quite justifiably upset at all this, they're saying, well, we're thinking of suing you too. It couldn't happen to a nicer bunch of people. Rafi texts, I'm finding you more likeable this evening. Get sick more often. Thanks. Yeah, I'll see what I can do. Alexandra says, so what do you think? Alexandra texts, so what do you think of adjusting that classic Raab motif you use to Bullying, hubristic, spectacularly dense, hilariously... That's way too many words. Another listener with material.
Oh, no.
Brenda emails. See Dominic Deckchair Raab hot-footed it over to the awful downmarket TV station for a whinging and whining interview. The bully had no remorse or contrition. Yeah. Well, yeah. That's him all over. And Martin says, it took Rishi all day to barricade himself behind an office full of furniture before summoning Dominic the Disagreeable with a megaphone from the stationery cupboard through the keyhole. Yeah, we still haven't heard word one from Fishy Sunak, have we? Not a peep. Not a squeak.
I'm gripping it.
I'll believe you. But perhaps we will when he, comes up with some nerve. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
And we'll pick over the bones of what emerges tomorrow. Tonight at 10 o'clock, at which point I will get through the 1.5 billion texts and emails that I failed to read out tonight. Now, if you missed any of tonight's show, you can listen back. We put it as a podcast. We take the news and most of the ads out. It takes less time to listen to. You'll use less electricity. And by that method, you'll save the planet. Ask for it by name. The magic phrase is Nick Abbot, the Whole Show Podcast. It's on Global Player, exclusive to Global Player, where you can also catch up on all of LBC's shows and stay up to date with the latest news from LBC. You can rewind live radio on Global Player. And if you haven't got it, get it for free from your App Store or globalplayer.com 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 or globalplayer